Hello everybody. It's been a long time since I've done a live, but I do a lot of lives in my private group. So if you're a licensed esthetician and you follow me, you may not know that I actually have two private groups. I have the waxing estheticians, and then I have Se-Brazil wax training for estheticians as well. And I do a lot of lives on my Instagram, but I haven't come on and done a live on Facebook in a while. So I wanted to come on and really chat about not only the new product that we launched, which is our natural deodorant, but the process of going from a traditional deodorant to a natural deodorant. And it's not an easy process. And I think a lot of us don't ever have true, honest conversations with people about, deodorants in general. What is a true antiperspirant versus a deodorant? I have been on a deodorant for 2 years, and it has been an amazing journey, but it's been a journey where I'm very awesome when it comes to honesty. And hey, Anna Marie, how are you? But it's been a very interesting journey for me to go to the level of creating a stable deodorant, especially for estheticians. We are very close to our customers. We are, in their proximity, they're in our proximity. So the last thing that we want to have is have an issue with whether our underarms smell, our breath smells, our body smells. And so we're always very conscious. I really had two major things that happened for me to really think about transitioning to a natural deodorant. In my 20s, I tried it. At that time, I was working at Pure Beauty, and that was when Dermalogica actually had a natural deodorant. They have since discontinued their natural deodorant, from my understanding, but I tried it then, but I didn't understand how to really successfully transition from an antiperspirant to a deodorant. So that was happened in my 20s. Now I'm 43. So I, about 2 years ago, said I wanted to try the journey again, and I really took my time, which means I accepted the process of letting go of an antiperspirant and then accepting the process of a true deodorant. And what does that mean? What that means is that deodorants allow your body to actually do its normal function, meaning that it allows it to sweat. A lot of us don't like that feeling of having any kind of moisture under our arms. So we are so plugged into the antiperspirant. Antiperspirant means that you are not perspiring, which means that you are putting chemicals into your pores, and the pores will no longer release water from your underarms. So when you talk to people and they say, oh, I'm going to do a detox, or I'm going to do this for my health, or it was suggested to do a detox, you're really detoxing your body from all of the chemicals that the skin has come in contact with, as well as what you've ingested. So in that process, the reason we smell is because our body is releasing all of the things that we're constantly packing on. And it didn't occur to me until I started looking at what I was using for my skincare. I would take, a bath with my soaps, and then I would get out and I would do like this and smell under my arms. And it was like I didn't even wash under my arms. And I kept saying, why does my armpit stink? And I shower twice a day. Why do I still smell myself under my arms, but I'm literally still in the shower? I'm still wet. Why do my underarms still smell? And it didn't occur to me until I started really looking at not only the soaps that I was using, but what antiperspirants really do to the skin in the underarm area. That was the two clues for me. So the first part I really looked at was our soaps. And if you're not familiar with our soaps are phenomenal. It has helped my daughter's eczema. She has full body eczema. She has the most extreme eczema, which means her eczema can be triggered by what she eats, as well as the environment and allergies. So she can scratch and flare up at any time. So that was kind of my other kind of catalyst to really push me to understand her skin, but understand myself, because I did not want to have any kind of odor coming from my skin, and I just would shower. So once I looked at taking the soap aspect out, I don't use a traditional soap. I do use a glycerin-based soap. I have created multiple soaps. They are absolutely phenomenal. I love them and will never ever go back to a traditional soap, because you really can't. There's a big difference. And hey, Key. So that was the first part. The second part was transitioning to a deodorant. Now, I am honest with everyone. If you've ever thought about letting go of your antiperspirant and getting a natural, true deodorant, which just helps with the odor, but allows your body to do what it naturally is supposed to do. It's about a 6-month time period. So for 6 months, you're going to see your body go through transitions. You may be like, oh, I don't like the way I feel, but your body has to purge all of the ingredients and chemicals that are in antiperspirants out for a long time. So think about it. Depending on when you started wearing a deodorant, when you started probably around 11 or 12 until now, you've constantly every single day packed in all of that stuff into your underarms. So when you start transitioning, you do have to allow your body to detox and get rid of all of that things that you've been packing into your underarms for years. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. In those transitions, though, you will experience some uncomfortableness. You will experience some sweating. You will start noticing the skin under your arm versus when you get up in the morning, we're almost like robots, right? We go to the bathroom, we take care of our face, we shower, we do what do? We go and we grab our deodorant, we put our deodorant on. Some of us put 2 on, and then we go on about our day. When you have a natural deodorant, like I said, I'm only controlling the odor or the smell. I'm still allowing my body to do what it normally does, which means that I am going to be sweating. I am a sweater. So I will sweat in my back, I'll sweat underarms, booty crack, back of my knees. I just sweat. Now, sweating is healthy. Sweating is a normal bodily function, but a lot of us want to try to control that sweat because we also don't quite understand what's happening in our body. It's normal. However, the odor necessarily is not normal. So when I transitioned 2 years ago from an antiperspirant to a deodorant, I did it in definitely 2 different ways. So the first way that I do, and I always share what I do, is that I actually always had the natural deodorant around. And the reason I had that was because I did not want to have anyone else smell me during that transition. As my body was purging all of that antiperspirant, I did not want to have people smell me. So I was always carrying my deodorant in my purse, and I would reapply multiple times during the day, which always for me was kind of a sense of comfort. So when I was reapplying it, I knew that I was controlling the odor. I was still allowing my body to sweat. I was still allowing it to get rid of all of those chemicals, but I was really controlling the odor. That's the first thing that I did. The second thing that I did is I do not use traditional soaps. So I don't use any liquid soap, body wash, regular bar soap. I actually use a glycerin essential oil-based soap that is pH friendly. That also helped with the funk. When you balance your pH in your skin, it really helps control that odor. A lot of our skins are fighting the ingredients that are in traditional soaps or body washes. If you don't know ingredients, you really got to look up skin-friendly ingredients. And in a lot of our soaps, we are using a lot of non-skin friendly ingredients, which is why a lot of us have that extra funk. It's because the body's fighting what you're putting onto it on a daily basis. So when you look at deodorants and you look at your cleansing habits, I really am very particular about it because there's certain results that I want to yield, but I don't want to have any kind of odor. So our natural deodorant, which is here, it is a glass container, which I stayed with the natural. It does have a metal ball, which is here for the applicator, which I absolutely love. I do suggest that you can apply this twice. So if you are trying to transition, this is a great transition deodorant for you. You'll be able to use it. I have traveled all over the world with this deodorant, and I've gone to extremes. So when I was in Bangkok 2 years ago, I had the deodorant with me. At that time, we did not have it available to sell, but I was still trialing it, and I wanted to be in an environment that had a high humidity rate. If you're not familiar with Thailand, if you're not familiar with Bangkok, it has a lot of moisture in the air. 30 and 40% of the environment is moisture, so you're constantly in that dewy state. I used the deodorant. I was not stinky. I still was sweating and purging, but I did not have an odor. So that was my first test, which I absolutely love. And of course, I carry it all over where I'm going. But the other part of it is going to the extreme. So when I go to Vegas, if you're very familiar with Vegas, it's very hot and it's very dry. The water is very rough. And I did a 3-day trade show, worked my trade show all day long. It was hot. I was actually in there before they turned on the air conditioning. So I was probably in about 95, 100-degree weather, setting up our booth, sweating like crazy. No funk. So if it can work for me, it can work for you. You just have to be very realistic about your transition. Your transition has to come with some honesty on your part. You got to think about how long you've been using a regular deodorant, how long you have been consistently using that deodorant every single day. And when you stop using that antiperspirant and you go to a natural deodorant, your body is going to sweat. you are going to have moisture that's there. I always say do 2 applications. So you're going to do your first application. I actually go to this part too. A lot of people forget this, especially when you're starting to go to a natural deodorant. A lot of people forget this part of the skin. So I go all the way down. I go really, in depth. And I apply it, and I specifically go to right here, because if you see that area, when I go and I touch down, especially as you become more mature, your skin becomes a little loose. So I want to make sure I'm covering everything. So I'm getting all the way out here. I'm going all the way down. I always show people, because I don't have dark underarms, and that's the other thing about, using a natural deodorant. I do not have dark underarms at all. So that's my first pass. I let it sit for about 2 or 3 minutes. I do whatever I'm doing into the bathroom, brush my teeth, wash my face, discussing with my husband, do whatever. Then I'm gonna do a second application in the exact same way. So you're always gonna shake it before you get started. And then I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna go all the way to the arm as well. So I do, back and forth. And then I go all the way down, and I show both arms because I don't have dark arms. A lot of people are always curious about my underarms. And so that's the second pass. So I do it again on my other arm. I definitely go back and forth here all the way to this loose skin, because this loose skin, like I said, has contact, so I don't want anything to smell. So I go over and beyond, and I go all the way down here, and I apply all the deodorant, and it's clear, so it's nothing that's gonna stain any of your clothes, and then I'm good to go. Our essential oil blend is phenomenal. And I love the fact that it is definitely a light scent. This is a liquid, so it's not a gel. It's not anything that's gonna be very thick. You're not gonna see it. It absorbs instantly right into the skin. I don't have any whiteness under my arms. I absolutely love it. It's very specific. And that's one thing about deodorants, especially if you're a person of color, you don't wanna have white cakey underneath your arms. You just don't. That's not something that's cute. The other thing is too, is that this is a liquid. So I know that there's a lot of traditional natural deodorants on the market right now. Some of them are creams, some of them are gels, some of them are sprays. I wanted a liquid because I wanted to absorb very quickly. That's my personal preference. I have tried different natural deodorants. I do have an allergy to baking soda based natural deodorants. Ours does not have baking soda, so it is baking soda free. I think on my next labels, I'm gonna put in the corner baking soda free for our folks so that they know that there's no baking soda in this. But this little guy right here is absolutely phenomenal. And if you know anything about me and my products, I don't bring products to the market unless I have self-tested them and I've done the extreme testing, which means for me, I understand sweat, but I gotta have it be able to be used in the most harshest environments around. So I went to Bangkok, I was in Thailand. It is sweaty and it's dewy all the time. And then I went to Vegas and I was out there in June in that 105, 106, 107 degree weather, and I still was sweating, but I was not smelly. And that is my always focus for my body. I wanted to do everything that it's supposed to do. We're supposed to sweat. We're supposed to purge all of those toxins. It's supposed to be leaving our body. When you start looking at natural deodorants, that's what our body normally does. I just want to be able to control the odor. I don't want to smell. I want to be able to have the confidence in my deodorant that it's going to be controlling that smell, allowing my body to continually sweat and do what it does on a regular basis for my health. And so transitioning for some can be difficult. Like I said, I did it twice. So the first time I tried to transition, I didn't do well on that. And I was also a little bit younger. So I wasn't, I didn't really understand what transition meant when it starts with, I heard that about natural deodorants. I just thought one day I could wake up and say, I'm not gonna use an anti-perspirant, I'm gonna go to a natural deodorant. Yeah, no, it doesn't really work like that, especially if you don't have one that is strong enough to hold in the odor. So that's the key. You gotta have one that has a great odor barrier, which means it's going to help control the odor. I didn't have one. So the one that I transitioned was the dermalogical one. And I don't think they make that deodorant anymore. I liked it. It smelled great, but it wasn't that strong enough for me. Being already a sweater, I needed it to help control the odor a little bit more. That was my first. My second one was 2 years ago. And like I said, I have not been on an antiperspirant or traditional antiperspirant for over 2 years. So I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from, you know, being in environments where most people will be like, oh my gosh, is my deodorant going to work? You know, I'm sweating, you know, is it going to stink a little bit? I've never had any of those issues. And that's something that for me was a game changer, that I could use a natural deodorant, not have to worry about being stinky or having any kind of odor come from me. And here's the even more bigger one. I was in Chicago 2 years ago, and I had a girl run up to me and said, can I smell your underarms? Because I know you said that you're testing a new natural deodorant and seeing if you wanted to bring it to your business. And I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And so she literally put her nose in my armpit. And it was hilarious. And people were looking like, Rachel, that was you. Yes, it was. And Rachel will tell you, she's on here live with us now, that she smelled my armpit and they didn't stink. So I've had people that have actually come up to me and say, do you mind if I smell it? You know, and I'm kind of like, no, I don't mind. Like, I'm that comfortable. But I also find it very funny because there's a lot of us that are looking for this type of product to really help control the odor. And even in the regular antiperspirant, there's a lot of people who don't really respond well to the antiperspirants either. They're not strong enough. And so you really, you know, it's eye-opening when you start having these conversations, especially for those of us who do underarm waxing, especially for those of us who do body waxing. This should be a part of the conversation specifically. You know, if you have clients that have darker underarms and they're looking for something to help lighten, I say there's two things. One, you got to get off of a traditional deodorant and you got to get off of a traditional soap. If you put those two combinations together, you should not have any dark areas. And if you see, I have no dark areas. Now my hair is long, I need to get my underarms done, but I don't have any dark areas. And that's one thing that I've always said that I was expecting from a natural deodorant, because I did have dark armpits. So when I used a traditional antiperspirant, I had dark underarms. When I was shaving my underarms, I had dark underarms. So, you know, I wanted to see if I truly could let go of an antiperspirant, not shave. You know, that's another challenge as well. And then also look at how everything come in contact with my cleansing to where I'm at now. It was about a 2-year process. So 2 years ago, I did have dark underarms. 2 years ago, I was still getting my underarms sugared, but I was not shaving them. But I did have that dark ring where, especially women of color, we tend to have it. It's very dark. If you have extra skin right here, wherever it's touching and chafing, it tends to be dark as well. If you notice, like I show you, I have no dark underarms. My underarms are not dark. They're all one color. I just reapply the deodorant so it's not white and cakey underneath. And this is what I want. So in the event that I raise my hand or I'm doing whatever I'm doing, it doesn't look like I have a whole bunch of antiperspirant balls all caked into my skin, into the crevice, and just sitting there. I wanted it to really do what it wanted to do, and this deodorant absolutely does that. We've had a lot of you guys who have already been buying them. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see all of this. You can apply it post-wax. The issue though, and this is why I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do, is that the ball issue is going to be an issue. So this is not something that you can share or disinfect, if that makes sense. I might down the road, for people who want to do it post underarm wax, come up with some wipes, but that's down the road. That probably won't be until later next year. That's not on my actual schedule. So that's something that I am thinking about doing it. It may be sooner than later, I don't know. But that would be more of in a wipe form for you to apply to your customers to be able to put on underneath. But you know, to take the ball off and put it on a gauze. So here's the thing about, if you're not familiar about roll-ons, the ball is actually, it's already made with it. So you can't pull it off unless you break the whole thing. You could take the whole ball off, the antiperspirant off, and then just keep the lid on if you want to, and you could do that. You just would have to dig around a lot. It's gonna take a little bit of work to get this out, and then you could just pour it that way, like have one that you use just post and then put it, and I wouldn't put it on gauze because gauze can be a little bit rough. I would say either a 2x2, 4x4 aesthetic wipe or a Webro pad, which is a little bit softer. I like to use those post peel, and then you can actually apply it that way. But that's a great way to transition your customers as well, is to actually put that on them post, because a lot of clients don't have anything post. They'll either put a post, we'll put a post product on, but it's not something specifically for underarms or for deodorants. And I've also thought about doing smaller sizes just to have people test them. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to do that or not. And that again is something that I would do down the line. But as of right now, we've had a lot of folks who really just want to find something that's very effective, that's baking soda free. I don't put any baking soda in it. And to have those conversations. I think a lot of us don't have conversations about, antiperspirant. We don't discuss with our customers. We talk to them about things that they can do to lighten that area, but we also don't talk about the day-to-day things that come in contact in that area to make that area become darker. And for me, it was always like, I don't want to have dark underarms. I want to be able to wear a tank top and not be subconscious because there's dark areas here, or on the back that there's dark areas here. I have no darkness at all. So I really wanted to have something that was going to work together, and I found the perfect solution. It's our cleansing bars, and it's specifically the body cleansing bar, and then it's the deodorant. So when you look at the transition, process, it does take about 6 months for your body to become acclimated to being able to daily sweat in this area and have everything come off the way it should. I've just really been an advocate of understanding what comes in contact with my skin on a regular basis. And what is my skin reacting to? Why is it responding in this way? Why did I feel, for a long time when I washed under my arms that it just didn't feel clean, or it still smelled very bad? Like I had just gotten done working out, but I'm walking out of the shower. Why does my body respond in this way? And why is it responding in this way just in this area? So those are conversations that I openly have with a lot of people, but I also really did not understand the correlation to what my body is supposed to be doing. So it's supposed to sweat in that area. It should be moist in that area. That is where the body detoxes naturally. It does it all the time. So why are we stopping it? And it's, a lot of us look and say, well, because I don't want to smell. You can have and not smell, but still allow it to do what it normally does. And there's still some controversy around aluminum-based antiperspirants and finding it in the lymph nodes, especially with women in breast cancer or breast cancer survivors and stuff like that. So I'm very excited to be able to have a product that someone who is recovering from breast cancer, that they actually are able to use, because it is aluminum-free, it is baking soda-free. So I'm very excited about that as well, to be able to provide something that's not going to be an irritant, but that can definitely help in that area and still be able to control the odor. So thank you guys so much for coming on. Rachel says, let me share it. Let's see. She said, your current 10-year-old is losing native. You're going to switch her when she finishes what she has left. You never wanted her to start. And that's something that I'm going back and forth with my daughter as well. She's wanting to transition. And here's the thing, especially with my daughter, and I understand how her body works. I needed her to tell me that she's ready to transition. So she finally said, Mom, I see you do it. I want to do it too. And that's kind of how she is. Whatever I do, she typically does. But I'm also ready to transition her. I do wax her underarms, so that way we do kind of control how much hair is there. She is very much active. She's a dancer, so I'm excited to get her to that level of understanding about her body as well. And it's very interesting, especially coming from a teenager point of view, because for myself it wasn't, and I can remember back when I was younger, I was an exclamation girl. If you remember exclamation perfume, I loved that exclamation perfume. I was a big what was the other one called? Musk. I'm trying to think of it. It was in a blue bottle, and I found it at my parents' house that I used to wear all the time. It was in an aerosol bottle. So I've always been about perfume, but I never understood the deodorant side and the soap side, and how hormones play into into it and just funk. Like, I never really understood that correlation. And I find that, you know, raising my daughter and having those honest conversations and letting her know, you know, this is how you take care of your body. This is why your body is responding in this way, is because you're constantly putting this on it and it doesn't like it. So it's been a very interesting journey. I will say that. It's been a journey that I'm very proud of because I have stuck to my guns. You know, I'm not going to go back to a traditional antiperspirant. I will probably never go back to a traditional soap because I understand and love how my body is reacting to what I'm using now. It's not fighting the way it used to when I was using all of those antiperspirants and all those, you know, harsh soaps that smelled great, but the chemicals were just too harsh for me. You know, I was always constantly scratching. I was always constantly feeling like my skin is just tight and itchy all of the time. And once I pulled all of those things out, and I really started understanding what my body really truly likes, and it changed. Pretty much everything changed. So I will post below, if you have come on late, I'll post below for a link if you want to go ahead and try the new deodorant and see for yourself if you're up for the transition challenge. And I can't wait to see you guys again. Have a great day. Bye.